last year. His knee was banged up, his whole, the personal life as far as his brother's tragic death. And he needed to go through that. Well, he needed to find himself and maybe kind of just get through that on his own terms. And so when I heard Cam say that, and I think Cam is the most honest broker in that locker room, Richie, like I think a lot of people, started to kind of put it at seriously optimistic that Stephon Tuitt would be back. So this is a surprise to me, and I do think what's going to be interesting is if we find out what the timeline on this was, how long the Steelers internally, the brain trust, the front office has had an inkling that this was going to be happening, or if it really was a case, like many have speculated, where they might have only known 2-3 days maximum before this announcement was made.
I know Jeff Hathorn and I were in on that interview with Cam Hayward, and I think I did ask Cam Hayward after that when he was talking about he was confident he was coming back. I asked him if he's confident if he's still going to be the same player, and he was adamant. Not only was he coming back, but he was still going to be the same player that he was in 2020 or 20 before that. Yeah. So this completely fooled me. And when I heard Cam Hayward's interview, when he was talking about it to us, then I thought for sure, all right, he's not here right now, but you'll see him at minicamp, and he might not be 100%, but he's going to make a go for it.
Well, I think one thing is clear here, and that's only Stephon Tuitt knew exactly where Stephon Tuitt was at, and even people he was talking to might not have been getting either the whole story or he might have just changed his mind. I would make one thing clear here. I have a lot of respect for Stephon Tuitt making what is pretty obviously a family-first decision to be home, closer to his family, and back in Indianapolis where he grew up, go and get his degree and decide he's going to move on to life after football, because he's leaving tens of millions of dollars most likely on the table, not just this year's pay, but whatever he would have gotten on his next contract. He's 29 years old. He just turned 29. He's essentially walking away from a game that I would imagine he's played for 20-plus years in his physical prime, coming back with maybe something to prove because he just doesn't feel right, because he's trying to make a family-oriented decision. I have a lot of respect for somebody that would do that, because I think that's a legitimate sacrifice on his part for maybe his family's greater good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know what it's like losing someone so close to you, and your mind isn't right for a long time. And, you could kind of feel it, what he was going through. So although I was surprised, I wasn't shocked that he retired. So, I wish him the best, and hopefully he can move forward at some point. But the Steelers would definitely miss him. And the reason I didn't think that maybe they were caught off guard a little bit was because they didn't really do much. Other than drafting DeMarvin Leal. I mean, they didn't bring in a bigger name at all.
Me. Yeah, they didn't pursue Akeem Hicks, who we found out today, or at least that we know of, they didn't seriously pursue Akeem Hicks, who signed for 1 year, $6.5 million, and then $3.5 million in incentives with the Bucs. And Ndamukong Suh is still out there. He has largely been very reliable health-wise. I think you're seeing a couple things. It tells me that unless they were totally derelict of duty, like they knew this a while ago, they had a pretty strong feeling he wasn't coming back and they still did nothing. Unless that's the case, in which case, if we find that out, I would criticize them. It just seems to me like they treated DeMarvin Leal as if, hey, you can be a developmental player. We're going to have this guy back. You can start to really pick up steam in year 2. That's how we like to do things. Now all that gets accelerated. But yeah, when I think of all these free agents, like I know Pony, even though he's on vacation today, Richie, he tweeted, if the Steelers had known about this 48 hours earlier, would they have signed Akeem Hicks? Here's the thing. It takes two to tango in free agency now, and the Steelers are not the draw that they maybe once were for a guy who might want to both get a payday and win a Super Bowl. The Buccaneers were the better pick for Hicks, so I think that's something people are going to have to reckon with as well.
Yeah, but Pony thinks that the Steelers have a Hall of Fame quarterback already with Kenny Pickett. He's already have him in the Hall of Fame, so everyone wants to come here now. But, yeah, I know what you're saying. There are a couple guys out there that they potentially might talk to, but we'll see where they are. We got to take a break. We're going to take your phone calls coming up next. 412-575-2600 is the number. We're talking Stephon Tuitt, surprise retirement announcement today. Back in a couple minutes.